So I know a lot of you are super grown like me, right? And with your big grown self and your big grown age, you have a lot of preferences that you've developed over the years. Like me, I only like to use one type of toilet paper. Like I'm very, very specific about the type of toilet paper I like to use. And I'm very specific about a lot of things. I only like to use the same type of toothbrush. I only like to go to one specific type of hairdresser. There's one nail tech that I like to go to. Like I'm very specific about a lot of things. And this just comes with years. You know, you finally get your skincare routine down packed. You got your go-to moisturizer, your go-to cleanser, your go-to toner, right? And shout out to my natural hair girlies, right? You have your go-to leave-in conditioner, right? You have your preferences. Even around your neighborhood, you probably got your cleaners that you go to. You know, you like me, if you're a tree hugger, you got your recycling facility that you like to go to. Like there's just some preferences that you've developed over the years. But what I've learned as an entrepreneur, and this is just one of the most beautiful things about being in business for a long time and being able to develop consistency and repetition and understand how things are done, is that brand loyalty is not just reserved for commodities. It turns out that brand loyalty is not just reserved for the mechanic that you take your car to. Brand loyalty is not just reserved for your favorite takeout restaurant. Like it's a whole bunch of Chipotle's, but you got your one location that you like, right? Brand loyalty is not just reserved for those businesses. If you are a coach, if you are a speaker, if you are a service provider and you work very intimately with individuals to help them get a transformation, I want to show you today. I want to teach you the one skill that I've mastered that has helped us to develop brand loyalty with our clients. It turns out that people can keep coming back to you too. Like they come to you one time, you can do so well and you can have such mastery as a coach, as a speaker, as a service provider, that you can have individuals that continue to circle back around. One of the things that I'm most proud of in business, I've been running a coaching company for over 10 years now. And one of the things that I am the most proud of is how long we retain clients. There is nothing more energy draining as a service-based business owner as having to constantly get brand new clients in the door every month. There is nothing more draining than always having to stress over money, over revenue, over profit. There is nothing more stressful than constantly have to tell your story, what you do, explain what you offer to new people over and over and over again. Listen, it's a part of business. It's going to happen because if we want to grow and we want to get that reach, the repetition just comes with the job, right? However, there's nothing like having some type of guarantee of how much revenue you can expect to get in every day and or every month, and being secure in that and knowing that new clients, new business, new speaking gigs, new opportunities are always great to have. We're never frowning about that. But there's nothing like having a system that allows you to retain clients, allows you to retain business, and allows you, most importantly, to have some type of peace of mind, about what you can expect your business to do, how you can expect your business to perform month over month. Brand loyalty is not just reserved for toilet paper. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So if you are in the transformation business like I am, if you have decided that your assignment, if you and God have decided that your assignment is to use your story, your mastery, your expertise on a specific subject matter to help other people get transformations, then today's Monday Morning Keynote is for you. I am going to tell you, I'm going to share with you the one skill that I have personally mastered and developed that has helped us to continuously get individuals transformations in the coaching space, that has helped us to continuously get individuals transformations in the speaking space. You can transform somebody from the stage. You can transform somebody in a private, intimate, one-on-one setting. You can transform somebody in a group setting, but there is a specific skill that it takes to do that. And with that transformation, typically comes brand loyalty. With that transformation, typically comes referrals. There's nothing like somebody new coming to you and saying, I'm coming to you because my friend came to you. She said it was amazing. He said it was amazing. And so here I am, amaze me. There's nothing like it. And so when I teach business to entrepreneurs, I'm a coach in a couple of spaces, and I always like to tell them when it comes to revenue, one of the best things you can do for your business is set your business up to survive and be sustained from what I like to call old money, right? Not like, not like the Fords and the Murdochs old money. We ain't there yet. But what if the people that pay you in 2026 were the same people who were paying you in 2024? What if the people who are paying you in 2026 were the same people who were paying you in 2025? What if you weren't always scrapping and scraping and stressed out about how you're going to get new students, how you're going to get new clients, right? Some of this is technical prowess, right? Like meaning, what do you offer? What's the length of your offer? What's your ascension offer? What's your aspirational offer? Some of it is technical prowess. But before we even get there, right, I want to teach you today the one skill that has really helped me to be the conduit to transformations for our coaching clients. And I coach in the health space, I coach in the business space, and I coach in the personal development space. And so across 3 different disciplines, how is it that we have been able to secure clients that have literally been with us for years? So that's what I came to teach y'all this morning. Welcome back to Monday Morning Keynote with yours truly, Coach Lisa A. Smith, health and business coach to coaches and speakers, founder of the Clarity Community, where we help entrepreneurs to optimize their health, eliminate chronic stress and burnout. And we do that by helping you to restructure your business. We help you to restructure everything that you're offering so that you can live with more peace, so that you can live stress-free, and you can do it most importantly, without compromising your physical, mental, or emotional health. So many of us, we start to attain some level of success, but that rise comes with cost. And my mission is to make sure that you're not only living a life of radical obedience and doing what God is calling you to do, despite the presence of, fear and uncertainty, but you're doing it with your health intact. You're doing it with your relationships intact, right? You're doing it with your peace of mind intact. Like, nobody wants to get the gold, come sliding into first base, right? Overweight, stressed out, relationships fractured, morals compromised. Like, there's a way that we can have success without compromising our health, our well-being, our relationships, our quality of life. And we do that by what I call radical obedience, right? And so I teach radical obedience in my community, Clarity, and I sprinkle a little of that with y'all on Monday morning. So listen, if this is your first time here, your second time here, your 10th time here, what you need to know is you always want to make sure you have some emotional support tea. Now, emotional support tea, or your emotional support beverage, is what you're going to turn to if at any point during this conversation I come for your edges, if at any point during this conversation I'm riding down your street, if at any point during this conversation you feel triggered, you feel touched, you feel seen, even you're like, I really thought this was audio, I really thought this was virtual, but how you see me right now, Coach? How you see me right now, Lise? Your emotional support tea is there for those moments. So tell me what y'all sipping on in the chat as we get ready to rock and roll today. And I tell you guys, the one skill that has been at the root of coaching transformations for us that has kept our clients coming back for more. I'm sipping on vanilla and mint this morning. Okay, little combo, little 1-2 combo for the girls. Okay, so I'm sipping on my vanilla and mint getting it nice and toasty. You know, it steeps just right. You take that one good sip. Whoo, best feeling ever. I wish I could package that feeling. Okay, best feeling ever. So tell me what emotional support tea y'all got. April says she's got hot water and sliced ginger here on YouTube. Okay, April. Okay, skin about to be popping, immune system about to be popping. I love it. I had my hot water and lemon this morning upon rising, like I do every morning. So by the time I get to tea, by the time I get to y'all, I'm treating myself with tea. But we done already kicked off our 25 ounces of water. We've already had our hot, warm lemon water, keeping the fountain of youth alive around here. Did y'all know I was 30? We'll talk about it later. Some of y'all might not know, but I'm 30. According to my blood work, I'm 30. Okay, so it's working. Kiavia says she has water this morning. Love it. Stacy says celery juice. Already had my key lime tea. Let's go. Susan says hot lemon water today. Love it. Love it. Come on, emotional support. Malika said peppermint tea with soy milk. Okay, fancy. Okay, fancy. Malika better than us today, y'all. Peppermint milk was okay. It's doing the most, and I love it. Listen, my peppermint tea be made real basic. I love it. Okay, listen, let's get into it. Let's talk about lifetime value. Let me teach you guys some lingo for those of you who are maybe new to entrepreneurship, new to business. You need to understand what we're going to be talking about today, so that I can use acronyms and ain't got to keep saying this, okay? LTV. LTV. Somebody put it in the chat. LTV as in Victor. Okay? LTV stands for lifetime value. Lifetime value. So what I'm going to share with you today is one of the ways we've been able to increase our LTV of our clients. That means on average, how much does a client spend with you over time? LTV is on average, how much does a client spend with you over time? Like from the moment they first discover you and buy from you to the moment they are offboarded and are no longer a customer, on average, how much is that? And the goal to have some type of predictability in your business and predictability in your revenue, the goal is to keep that LTV as high as possible, right? Which means you have to consistently be delivering value though. Right? So you have to earn that LTV. Like if right now the LTV of your customer is $500 or $1,000, the question becomes, well, how can we 5X that? How can we 10X that? How can we make it so that over their lifetime with your company and your services, what if that LTV could be 5,000? What if that LTV could be 30,000? What if that LTV can be 100,000? What if the brand loyalty is so good that customers continue to spend with you? And this is possible because you guys do it as consumers. Again, think of all the things that you continuously buy over and over again because you like the product, you like the brand, you like the service. How many of you guys, my ladies, how many of you guys have been going to the same nail techs, going to the same makeup artist? How many of you go to the same eyebrow lady or eyebrow guy? Like how many of you guys go to the same person over and over again? Think of your LTV with them. How much money have you given them? Your brand loyalty stems from what? Right? So think about that. This is possible. It's not just for commodity businesses. It's not just for service-based businesses in the beauty industry. It's not just for service-based businesses in the, in the wearable space. Like that is available to us too, individuals who are in the transformational space. So those of you who are in this coaching space, speaking space, I need you to know, just like someone else has a high LTV with you as a customer, your customers can have a high LTV with you as long as you master some significant skills. So I want to share something with you. Which is a story really quickly about a conference I went to. I think it was 2024. Yeah, it was 2024. It was about 2 years ago in 2024. So I went to this entrepreneurship. It was like a day long. It was just like a 1-day summit, 1-day conference with speakers and all the jazz, right? And I found it kind of at the last minute, and I decided to go. And there was a great deal of speakers. Many of them were really good. And it was a lot of information that I knew already, that I heard before, because the event was kind of geared towards individuals who were fairly maybe newer in business, right? And so I was slightly farther along. And so, a lot of the information was just like great reminders and things like that. However, there was this one gentleman, and he came up to speak, and he was, talking about business, and he was talking about teams, and he was talking about clients, and he was talking about like, um, kind of some human resources stuff, but just really like some team building stuff too, like when you're building an organization. And he's the author, he's one of the authors, he's a co-author of this book called Love as a Business Strategy, right? Love as a Business Strategy. So he was at this event, and I have his book, and I've read the book, and it's a good book, right? Just talking about what it means to use more soft skills when it comes to team building, right? So again, the name of his book is Love as a Business Strategy. And so he was at this event, and he was speaking, and he was just kind of teaching about these different aspects and dynamics of team building, entrepreneurship, things like this, right? And I thought he was really good. And so when we went on like a break or intermission or whatever we were on, well, we were at cocktail hour later that evening. That's what it was. So we were at cocktail hour out on the front lawn of this really like posh, nice hotel. It was really cool. And so I saw him, and I was like, I'm about to ask him a question. And so I was looking over his book, and I came up with this question. I can't even exactly remember the exact question I asked him, but his answer has never left me. So I was asking him something about, I think I was just really in my space at that time where I was really trying to get better as a leader, right? Yeah, at that time I was maybe 8 years in business. And so I was really like, I want to get better as a leader. So I know for a fact it was a question around leadership. It was a question around, maybe hiring and just building a really good, thriving, healthy team. And I remember a piece of advice that he gave me, which is what I'm here to teach you guys today, because I never forgot it, but most importantly, I implemented it right away, and it works. And it has been the cheat code to us getting transformations for our clients. And it has also been the cheat code for us developing a healthy team dynamic at my company. I remember him telling me that the key to healthy teams and good communication and sustainability was something called creating psychological safety. Psychological safety, right? And I was like, ooh, sir, tell me more, right? And he started breaking down this concept of psychological safety. And the brainiac that I am, of course, went then down my own rabbit hole and started studying this concept of psychological safety. And when I got into it, I was like, oh, this is it. As I was studying it, I was learning that much of what it describes is what I currently already do. I just never had the language for it. And y'all know it's nothing like putting the language to the thing you're trying to figure out, right? So he was able to give me the language, but also a more broader understanding and better understanding of this concept of what it takes to really develop healthy relationships. Now, this concept of psychological safety is originally an organizational psychology theory. So that means that the author of it, I think she's a professor at Harvard Business School. And when she initially wrote about this concept and came up with this concept of psychological safety, and originally when she was teaching it and writing about it, it was coming from a standpoint of how do you build really healthy teams within an organization. However, when I zoomed out and really looked at what psychological safety is and what it means to create it in an ecosystem, I realized this is the exact thing we use to retain clients as coaches. This is the exact thing I use to retain opportunities in relationships as a speaker. And so I was like, although this concept of psychological safety was originally developed within the confines of organizational psychology, meaning how do you develop a healthy organization and healthy teams, when I look back, I'm like, well, if I look at community building, which is what I do as a coach, right? I build communities, I sustain communities. and there are transformational communities, I realize I'm using this concept of psychological safety within the communities I build as a coach. And many of you may have never heard of it or may not have the language for it. And so I want to tell you a little bit about it, because my cheat code for creating recurring transformations for people that gets clients coming back for more coaching, for more programming, is rooted in psychological safety. Now, there's two other things that I'm going to share with you guys at the end today as like some bonus things that we also do. But this concept is the big one, right? Because a lot of times, when we are entrepreneurs, or if you're a coach in the coaching space in some aspect in the transformational space, a lot of times we think all the magic comes from business acumen. We think all the magic comes from how you create the offer, or how you sell, or how you upsell, or how you market, right? And all of those things are absolutely necessary. But when it comes to coaching, and when it comes to speaking, and when it comes to, for those of you who want to be authors and you want to use your book to create more money and revenue for yourself as a personal brand, you have to master this skill of developing psychological safety with the people you serve. When you're in the transformational space, a lot of times there is a lot of work, a lot of trust building that has to go into the relationship with the people you serve, that gets them to feel safe enough to stay long, and to gets them to feel safe enough to keep coming back, right? So let me give you some of the characteristics of what psychological safety is, but then I want to tell you guys who you have to become to create it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of define psychological safety, because this is our cheat code to LTV, increasing the lifetime value of our clients. But then I also want to tell you who you need to become, because I got to come for y'all too. Sometimes you think everything is a strategy issue. Like, just tell me what to price my services. Just tell me how to market. Tell me how to create content. Tell me how to put together an offer. No, 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 no. Everything is not hard skills like that. Sometimes you have to become a different type of coach, a different type of leader, in order to increase your client retention. Because what if I told you that a lot of your volatility in your service-based business as an author, a speaker, a consultant, and a coach is not just from the lack of new clients every month, but it's basically from your inability to retain current clients? And that's all this is. I'm going to increase your ability to retain your clients so that you guys don't have to chase down new people all the time, and you can really rest in having a loyal base, a loyal customer and consumer base. Okay. So what is psychological safety, and why is it the cheat code to client retention in the transformation space? Let me sip. Okay. This is a contact sport, right? If you're in a coaching space, if you're in a consulting space, if you're an author who tells stories, this is a contact sport, which means you are always in conversation with people. I don't care if you run challenges. I don't care if you do master classes. I don't care if you have coaching programs. I don't care if you do one-on-one coaching. I don't care if you do group coaching. This is a contact sport. And so one of the things that people must feel when they are working with you in order to continue working with you is they must feel safe. But psychological safety is characterized by a few things. The first is that as the leader, as the coach, as the subject matter expert, you respond to mistakes with curiosity rather than blame. You respond to shortfalls. You respond to vulnerability with curiosity. Now, the reason I really, really like this characteristic is because of the keyword curiosity. One of the things that really characterizes coaching and differentiates coaching from teaching is curiosity. Curiosity is displayed in the simplest form by asking questions. And so when you are a phenomenal coach, when you are really trying to facilitate a transformation for somebody, one of the best things you can show up to the conversation with is curiosity, not judgment, not blame, right? not a side eye on why they made a decision or why they dropped the ball again on what they're eating or why they dropped the ball again on their workout regimen or why they didn't show up for the coaching program, the class, the challenge that they paid for, right? And then they circle back around and they want to see how they can get back in. The worst thing you can do is show up with judgment. The best thing you can do is show up with curiosity. So you begin to create psychological safety with the people you serve when you are more curious than you are judgmental, right? Responding to individuals with curiosity. And you do that by asking questions, right? One of the characteristics of psychological safety is responding with curiosity rather than blame, rather than judgment. It's so interesting to me. We get into this transformational space, those of us who have decided that we want to be facilitators of transformation for other humans who are going through real things, who are dealing with some of the same challenges we are. And then we get mad at them when they're not perfect. Like we get mad at them when they, like after they pay and then they drop the ball, they don't maybe show up all the time. They don't perform. They're not perfect. They're not, sticking to the protocol. I'm like, dude, that's exactly why they hired you because they're struggling in this area. And sometimes, I've heard people express this frustration with individuals for not showing up and like performing at a 10 out of 10. And it's like, if you just ask questions just to see where they are, just to see kind of what's going on with them, instead of trying to dive in and solve the problem, instead of trying to dive in and course correct, just ask some questions and let them course correct, right? And so the first characteristic of developing psychological safety, which is going to extend the amount of time that a client decides to stay with you, is responding with curiosity, right? That helps them feel like, oh, this is a safe space to be imperfect. That's all it is. It is creating a safe space to be imperfect. And that's what you want to do. The second characteristic is of creating psychological safety is explicitly inviting in what's called dissent, meaning when you are not sure about what's going on, it is essentially saying, what am I missing here? Like, tell me there's a blind spot. Like, let's figure it out together. So you're inviting in a little controversy, but then also you're making it clear that you guys are going to co-create the solution together. You guys are going to co-create the fix together. And so when you're inviting that in and saying, let's unpack this blind spot, let's make sure that let me get clear on what I'm hearing. Like I do this a lot with repetition. So one of the things when I'm teaching business owners and entrepreneurs how to sell, right? When I'm teaching them how to sell, I have a sales script that I give our clients inside of our mastermind. And one of the steps, it's a 10-step sales process. And one of the steps in that process is literally summarizing everything the client just said, right? So there's a step in my sales process where I say, at this point, you pause and repeat back to them what you think you heard. You repeat back to them everything what they said to you so that you guys are on the same page. And at the end of repeating their stuff back to them, you say, is that all right? Am I missing anything, right? One of the characteristics of creating psychological safety is making sure that your client is seen, heard, and understood, right? And you explicitly invite in what am I missing? What are my blind spots? Maybe I like breeze past something that was really important to you. Let me know, right? So that is inviting in that dissent. It is, what am I missing? Let me repeat back what I heard. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. Let me tell you where I think this is going, right? Just making sure they feel heard. And when I say, is that right? At the end of that summary, that gives them the opportunity to say yes, or yes, you nailed it, right? And so that I'm seen, I'm heard, I'm being listened to, I'm not being rushed. I feel like it's safe to like lay it all out here and just keep getting it out without the fear of judgment, going back to number one, without the fear of blame, going back to number one, but then also not feeling like somebody's trying to rush to solve your problem, but that you're just being given, they're being given space to unload or talk through it. Because a lot of times, as you guys know, the solution comes from the conversation. And so that's the second characteristic of creating psychological safety, are people feeling seen, heard, and understood, right? Okay, here's the third characteristic of creating psychological safety, which is, are you modeling vulnerability yourself? Now, this is the point where some of you need to get your emotional support tea, okay? Because some of you are really out here trying to be a coach, trying to be a I'm about to make up a word, transformationist. Yep, I like it. We're going to go with it. Many of us are out here trying to be a transformationist. And us ourselves, we have yet to unpack the things that's keeping us from being able to show up for our clients in the way that they need us. So let's talk vulnerability. There is something so comforting about the person who's meant to be your wise counsel, the person who's meant to be your coach, leading with the vulnerability. So a lot of times when I am facilitating our coaching programs, I am starting with my story. When I am facilitating a coaching session or a speaking engagement, I'm leading with what I went through. I'm sharing the experience first. I'm sharing that I had a similar circumstance, a similar experience that I'm about to help you through, but here's where I started. Like when I'm leading our 30-day vegan salt on the sugar-free challenge, I'm talking about the struggles I had with sugar. I'm talking about being overweight and being insecure in my body. I'm telling those stories. I'm sharing those insecurities. Vulnerability is relatability, right? Vulnerability is relatability. When people feel like, oh, she gets me. Oh, he gets me. Oh, they see me. It's unmatched, right? When you are able to basically, look somebody in their eye, right? Figuratively, if you're able to look somebody in their eye and say, oh yeah, no, I remember what it was like to not have self-control around food. I remember what it was like to be insecure and self-conscious in front of the camera and on the mic when I first started podcasting, right? So modeling vulnerability will help to increase and create psychological safety. That psychological safety is why people want to stay with you. She sees me, he sees me, they hear me, they know me, they get me. But it's also a feeling like people can tell when you're being genuine, right? People can tell when you are maybe just saying something to make it seem like you get them versus genuinely telling your story and be like, yeah, I was exactly where you are right now. So do you have a similar circumstance? Do you have a similar experience that will help your clients because you're divulging with them, like you're sharing, you're being vulnerable. I often tell the story of being abandoned by my biological father. I tell the story about being overweight and insecure in my body. I tell the story about not loving my 9 to 5 and, what it took to get into entrepreneurship. I tell the story about healing. I tell the story about leaving a long-term relationship where I was engaged to be married. Like those levels of vulnerability, right? I talk about in my business many years ago when I was afraid to raise our prices, when my coach told, like, these are real things that I've experienced, and it's real things that our clients are experiencing, whether it's in their health, their business, or their personal development. And so when I show up as their health coach, their business coach, or their personal development coach, that vulnerability, when I lead from the front, it helps to create that psychological safety, right? And so those characteristics really, really, really are going to be transformational for supporting the people that you serve. Now I want to tell you a few more things that are required from you, okay? Because I want to pivot this over into not just a business framework, but also a personal framework. Many of you struggle with some of your personal relationships, right? They are not a 10 out of 10. Many of you struggle with communications in your relationships. Many of you struggle with vulnerability in your relationships. Many of you struggle with mutualism in your relationships. And I want to make sure that you are the best version of you so that you can do better at relationships. And so this concept of psychological safety is a cheat code for business, especially if you're if you're a transformationist. But it's also a cheat code for improving your personal relationships. Last week we did our stress elimination lab. And this was our first one of 2026. And our stress elimination lab is a 5-day experience where we work with individuals and I teach them our proprietary process for eliminating chronic stress. And I have to tell you, this was probably one of the best labs that we've ever done. Like, I literally cried on day 5, okay? And about 3, 4, 5 other people in the room was crying too, okay? Like, this stress elimination lab that we did for March 2026 was insanely good. There were several transformations that happened in real time over the course of 5 days. That is a very short time frame. And when I was kind of dissecting, how did we get here? When I was kind of dissecting, how we were able to get such significant results for individuals, such breakthroughs for individuals in such a short amount of time, my mind landed on this concept of psychological safety. But what was even more impressive to me is that we were able to do it in a group setting. Now, if you guys know anything about group coaching, that's a different dynamic from one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching, people are more likely to open up way quicker, way sooner. You get straight to the heart of the matter. Whereas in a group coaching setting, oftentimes it takes more to pull out of people, right? It takes more to get people to open up. It takes more to get people to share. It takes more to get people to be honest. It takes more to get people to admit when they need help, when they're struggling, when they don't know what to do. It takes more to get people to admit when they're wrong. And so I was able to get several people a transformation over the course of 5 days during our stress elimination lab. And I want to tell you what I believe did it. Shout out to Terry in the chat. Shout out to April in the chat here on YouTube, who were both in the lab last week. Ladies, drop your testimony in the chat. Shout out to Susan, who's in the lab. I got three lab. I don't want to call y'all lab rats. We need names for the stress elimination lab. We need to name y'all. But I got 3 individuals who were in the lab. Thank all of y'all for commenting, April, Terry, and Susan. I appreciate that because it was dope last week. It was so amazing. And so I want you guys to understand that I believe the thing that made that room and made those 5 days so transformational in our stress elimination lab was 100% the psychological safety that they felt. People have to feel safe enough to open up. Transformation is not a one-way street, as many of you guys know. Transformation is facilitated by the coach, facilitated by the expert, right? But it has to be accompanied by a willing participant. You cannot have transformation with just a one-sided conversation. I don't care how many gems I drop. I don't care how many sound bites I give you. I don't care how much I wax deep. The transformation, the thing that makes it just good information to consume, but that turns it into a tear jerk fest where we're all virtually hugging and being like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. This is the moment. Like, that is a two-way street. And so the only way for that to happen is that the individuals, your participants, your clients have to feel this psychological safety. So who do you need to become if you are facilitating experiences like this? If you're like, Lisa, I do retreats, or I have a coaching offer, or I'm a speaker, or I'm curating community centered around a specific niche or specialization, like, you have to create this environment, right? And the way you do that is, first, you have to master empathy. Okay, you have to master empathy. So you have to be able to hear someone keenly, closely, specifically. Like, the hearing is one thing, but then the listening is another thing, so that you can respond with empathy. So the first thing you have to become to create psychologically safe environments so that people, clients, or family members, friends, your children open up to you is empathy. You have to become empathetic. And that means that you are shedding all judgment. You have to shed all judgment. People are struggling. They're struggling in their health. They're struggling in their finances. They're struggling in their healing. They've been through some childhood trauma. They're struggling in their relationships. They're struggling as entrepreneurs. And if you sell a solution that you have been bold enough to put in the marketplace, you have to understand they're coming to you because they're struggling, and they have to be met with empathy. You are not going to increase the lifetime value of your customer. You are not going to increase the relationships and the safety of your community if you are not an empathetic leader. That means you have mastered the art of listening, active listening. You hear people for real, for real. You have mastered the art, and that's demonstrated through what is it called? Mirroring, right? It's not just mirroring. It's the word slips me, but it's demonstrated through summarizing back to them what they've said to you. That means you're able to listen so keenly. You can summarize what you heard. You can verify what you heard, and you can confirm for them that they are being understood. And you can, even if you don't relate, they might be articulating a challenge they're having with their children. They might be articulating a challenge they're having with their partner. They might be articulating a challenge they're having in their health. You may have never had any of those experiences. No experience with kids, no experience with partner, no experience with health, and you can still be empathetic. But to be empathetic, you have to be an active listener, because they have to know that you're just not like, good, yeah, oh man, that sounds terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. They have to really feel you. So if you have not mastered empathy and you still got a little bit of that judgment in your system, work on that first. Stop judging people. Stop judging people for the things they're struggling with. Just because it comes easier for you, or just because you've conquered that thing, does not mean you were not once where they are. And you have to be able to remember from whence you came. You have to show up with empathy. People are not going to get it on the first try. Like people, we do this 30-day vegan, salt, oil, and sugar-free challenge once a year. And we have people that have taken all 4 of our challenges. And I'm not like, oh my God, why are you back? You don't get it? You haven't gotten it? Like, that's terrible. We have people in our business accelerator, right? They come, they stay for years, they renew. They're like, and I'm not like, oh my God, why are you not flying on your own now? No, it takes time for people to become. It takes time for people to get over their insecurities. It takes time for people to get over their fears. It takes time for people to work through all of the things that a human has to work through to truly feel a transformation. So become empathetic, be kind to people. That's how you begin to create psychological safety. Number 2, you have to be able, let me tell you something, because this gets on my nerves, okay? So I'm going to say this next one, and I don't want you super bubbly people to get mad at me, okay? Shout out to all the bubbly people, okay? I know y'all are super bubbly. I know you guys are super, like, everything's great and everything's going to be fine. Let me tell you one of the probably counterintuitive ways that I create psychological safety for people, so that our clients stay with us for years. And so that, most importantly, though, they get transformed. They're not staying with us because they're not getting results. They stand with us because they are getting results. And they stand with us to get the next result. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to pre-apologize. I'm going to pre-apologize to my super bubbly, super everything is all right, everything's okay, super optimistic people. If you are listening, forgive me for what I'm about to say. But one of the things that you have to do, somebody said, tea time, coach. Hold on, Sharina, you right. Or one of the things that you cannot do, okay, if you really want people to trust you and love on you and stay with you for a long time, no toxic positivity, no toxic optimism. Now, this is going to sound counterintuitive, okay? But let me say this very clear. You have to stop thinking you can paint everything with a "it's going to be all right" brush, right? Everything is not rainbows and sprinkles, okay? Okay. Sometimes the people you love, whether they're family or clients, sometimes the things that they're struggling with, the fears that they have, are mad valid. Sometimes the things that they're worried about are super, super probable. They're super probable. Like sometimes you have to sit with them in that, like, you know what? That's a real thing that could happen. And you got to talk through what it looks like to keep moving forward with that high probability of that thing happening. All of this toxic positivity and toxic optimism. And when I say toxic, how does optimism or positivity become toxic? It's because you bulldoze over the root of the issue, right? You keep on just trying to say, stay in there. Think positive. You can do this. You got this. It's going to be all right. Sometimes it's not going to be all right. This is about to be hard AF. Sometimes the conversation that you're challenging them to go have with a partner is really going to end in separation. Sometimes the thing that they worried about, turning on that camera and nobody watching them, putting their product up for sale and nobody buying, those are real probable outcomes. And you cannot just keep on trying to drive your toxic, it's going to be all right, everything will work out for the best boat over everything. Now, we know in the long run, as personally developed humans, that everything is, God has a reason and that it is all to the good. But in the moment, they still need to, like, their emotions still have a space, their fears still have a space. We know intellectually, we know spiritually that it is all working out for the good. Like, that's very, very true. But you also need to be able to hold space to validate somebody's fears. I tell my entrepreneurs when they come into our business accelerator, into our mastermind, I'm like, yo, it is very true that you might not make no money when you first put this up for sale. There's some refinement that needs to happen. Your messaging needs to get better. Nobody trusts you yet. You don't have an audience. Why would they spend thousands of dollars with you? You got to go live several times. You got to keep showing up. I got to tell people the first time you have that tough conversation, it very well actually might turn into more friction, but before it turns into peace. You cannot toxic positivity your way through coaching. You cannot toxic optimism your way through transformation. You got to tell people like, yeah, I know you scared as heck to leave that job. I know you scared as heck to leave that relationship. And you right. You right. That might happen those first couple of months. Like, you right. Right. And so you cannot be just one of those people. Like, it's nothing wrong with being an encourager. There's nothing wrong with being a motivator. There's nothing wrong. Like, so I know some of you say your gift literally is encouragement, right? And so you're here to encourage, and you're here. And some of you guys define, I don't define empower by just blanketly telling everybody they can do it and it'll be all right. But that's how some of you define empowerment. You define empowerment by, it's going to be all right. You got this. You're strong enough. You were built for this. God gives his toughest challenges to his toughest warriors. Like, that's not empowerment by the way I do it, right? Sometimes my empowerment is like, you about to fail a few times. That's about to happen. Now, what we going to do about that reality? It's just a different type of love, and it's okay. But the psychological safety comes from being real with people, especially if you are selling an experience you've personally had. And I'm gonna tell you, like, oh, you want to come into entrepreneurship? Oh, that's gonna come with seasons of feast and famine. Are you ready? Every month is not gonna be a $10,000 month. Every month is not about to be a $30,000 month. Every month is not gonna be a $50,000 month, right? It's gonna come with feast and famine. You ready? Now, are you still willing to do it? That it is that, right? And so all of this toxic positive, cupcakes, sprinkles, it's all good. Just the sun will come out in the morning. Yeah, but I'm crying tonight. Okay? I don't know what's worked for y'all, but as a coach, that has created a lot of psychological safety for our clients. That realness of that thing you fear is probable. It's probable. Now, my job as an experienced coach who's selling a blueprint, my job is to tell you how we can lessen the probability. Well, maybe if you show up to the conversation this way. Well, maybe if you do content this way. Well, maybe if you package your offer this way, we can increase the chances of next month being feast and not famine. My job as an experienced coach is to lessen the probability of the thing happening that you're worried about happening. But I'm not about to just be like toxic. It just breezing over everybody's concerns. Sometimes people want to talk through their stuff. Sometimes people want to be in their feelings. That an emotionally intelligent coach knows how to do that. Sometimes the inability to do that, the inability to sit with uncomfortable emotions, the inability to sit with uncomfortable fears for people is not a them problem, it's a you problem. Sometimes we're so emotionally unintelligent as the leaders, as the facilitator, that we don't know how to hold space for fear. We don't know how to hold space for insecurities. We don't know how to hold space for doubt. We don't know how to hold space for anxiety and worry. Right? Because we don't understand what it means to be emotionally intelligent. And we think that we're just supposed to affirm our way through everything. I am kind. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am a millionaire. I am a successful entrepreneur. I am a kept woman. I am a mother. I'm like, listen now, we got to hold space for the probability that things could go different. We do. But again, your job as an experienced coach is to lessen the probability. They're coming to you not because they want you to guarantee that bad thing won't happen. They're coming to you to lessen the probability. Do you hear the difference? So your job is to be honest about the probability. Here's the probability of you succumbing to type 2 diabetes and heart failure before you come to me and you eating foolishness. Now, what I'm about to teach you is going to lessen the probability of you succumbing to heart disease and type 2 diabetes, but I cannot completely take away the probability. So what we both need to understand, first of all, is that this is a sport that requires a team, meaning I'm on a team and you on a team and everybody got to run the play. Okay. But what I'm not about to do is have you come in here and me be like, let me touch you. You healed. No, boo-boo. You might go to the doctor 3 months from now and the doctor be like, no, your blood pressure's still high. I'm not about to sell you a dream. Okay. But my job is to lessen the probability. Everybody say it with me. Lessen the probability, right? So how do you create psychological safety with your kids? How do you create it with your partner? How do you create it with your bestie, right? You have to be able to you have to understand the difference between positivity and optimism and toxic positivity and toxic optimism. Okay. And so our job is to lower the probability. So when I'm honest, sometimes when people apply for our mastermind and they be like, coach, like, give me some examples of people who, you work with, help them start their business. Like, what's the chances of how quick am I going to make money? How quick, can I get clients? Like, how quick can I see a ROI, a return on my investment if I do this mastermind, if I come into your business accelerator, blah, blah, blah. And I don't just be like, you're going to be a superstar. Like, it's going to work out. I'll be like, what's your, how big is your audience? Do you got an email list? Have you sold something before? Have you ever sold anything before? Have you ever sold anything more than $5? Have you ever sold a $2,000 product? Like, what's your feelings around money? What's your money mindset like? Do you think in lack or do you think in abundance? Huh? Tell me how you feel about being on camera. You ever went live before? Because you're going to have to create content to get people to trust you. How you feel about that? From those answers, I can tell you the probability of you making money in the first month, second month, first year. It ain't just a blanket. Everything is going to be beautiful if you just follow what I say. No. This is a team sport. If you want to make money with me as your business coach, if you want to have optimal health with me as your health coach, if you want to heal with me as your personal development coach, there is some questions you got to answer. And then we can all be honest about what's the probability of your goals coming to life. That makes sense, y'all? I felt like that made sense. Okay? That's the moment that some of y'all need to sip y'all tea because you trying to it just sprinkles, you just put sprinkles on everything. You don't even need all that sugar. Stop putting sprinkles on everything. Ain't always sweet. Okay? And so you create psychological safety with people by being honest, by validating their fears, by validating their worries, by validating their doubts. Like, that could actually probably happen. Like, there's a good chance the first time you go live, ain't nobody gonna watch and ain't nobody gonna like it. And depending on what your subject matter is, matter of fact, you're gonna get a couple antagonists in the comments. And if that turns you off, good luck. There's a good chance that the first time you try and sell this offer, several people gonna say no. If you got an issue with rejection, good luck. And then they know what to work on. And then what they going to do? Come back next week. All right, coach, I'm staying for another 6 months. You was right. It is what it is, right? And so the cheat code that we have used for countless years, thank God for that guy giving me the language for it, to keep clients for a long time is creating psychological safety by having empathy, okay? By having curiosity, okay? By not having toxic positivity and toxic optimism, okay? By leading with vulnerability, okay? And let me give you one final one before we leave here today. Let me give you one final one. And I think this is really attractive for a lot of our clients and part of the reason they stay with us for a long time, right? Because a lot of our clients, they start in one area, like they usually, like historically for the past 10 years, because this has been my focus, they start with us with health. So they come to me for health. Like, I need you to help me, optimize my health so I can go, and be radically obedient on the assignment. So most times people come to me for health and then they're like, well, working on the health stuff uncovered some stuff I haven't healed from. So I need you to help me with that. And then for those who are then aspiring to be like entrepreneurial individual, they're like, okay, I've worked on all that stuff. And now I want to model your business strategy, coach. And so then they stay for that. So we have people that just come through our programs, right? And I'm so grateful. I'm so immensely grateful. But let me give you the final reason we've been able to do this. Let me give you the final reason why we have been able to stay in business when so many other coaches and transformationists, y'all like the word we made up today? So many other transformationists and speakers don't have a sustainable business model. I think this has been one of our cheat codes, and that is very simply Con Ed. Con Ed, continuing education. So the other thing that probably secondhandly, I won't say firsthand, but secondhandly creates psychological safety for people is when they feel like you are constantly growing and getting better at the craft. Okay? You are constantly displaying to them mastery, refined mastery, new mastery. So I pride myself in learning. Like, I am constantly studying the things that I teach. I am constantly studying myself. I am constantly studying my business, right? Because I operate in all of those areas and spaces, right? And so the thing that has really like wowed people, like, cause one of the things I realized once we were having, I don't know which came first, the lifetime clients or the continuing education. But once I started seeing the same faces over and over again in our programs, like people will take Farm to Table multiple times. People do our challenges multiple times. People stay in our mastermind for years. People come to my speaking engagements, and then all of you guys, my regulars on YouTube, love y'all to life, right? My regulars on Instagram, love y'all to life. When I started seeing the same people and the same faces over and over again, no matter what I sell, what I offer, what I create, like there's just some people who like, give it to me. Where do I pay? Run the card, right? I realized that is pressure because you cannot keep teaching the same thing over and over again in the same way. Let me be very clear. So I teach the same things over and over again, but I teach them in different ways. I teach them from new perspectives constantly. I have to tell new stories. I have to come up with new descriptions, but I'm teaching the same thing. Now, I don't know what came first. I don't know if it was the recurring customers and the recurring clients or the value in continuing education. But once I started seeing the same people and I knew I didn't want to let them down, I'm like, Lisa, you got to stay on top of your game, because if they are willing to keep coming back, yes, they need to hear the same things, right? Because they're here for mastery. So everything doesn't have to be shiny and new. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be, okay? Because you don't want to just turn consumers into bigger consumers. You want to transform them. So at some point, they got to take the information that you're giving them and they got to use it, right? But sometimes the only way for them to use that information is if you're able to package it differently. And continuing education, con ed, has been a major cheat code for me in that way, right? So the question becomes, if you want to increase the lifetime value of your clients at your company, if you want to make it so that your company can survive off a more predictable revenue, and meaning you have customers who are staying month over month and year after year, the question becomes, do you know more today than you knew 6 months ago? Raise your glass if you need to sip. Do you know more today than you knew 1 year ago? And when I say more, I'm talking about exponentially, scientifically significantly more. Not like, oh yeah, I learned a thing or two. I messed around and read a few memes on Instagram that resonated me, and I'll be repeating that now. No. I'm talking about, are you studied? I'm talking about, are you well practiced, right? I'm talking about, have you got in so many reps since you had since the last time you ran this challenge? Have you gotten so many reps since the last time you ran this program? Have you gotten so many reps since the last time you spoke or went live that you really have scientifically significantly new information? Do you know more today within your field, the thing you're charging people for, than you knew 6 months ago? Do you know more today than you knew a year ago, right? Are they coming back to you, and are you really an upgraded version of yourself? Do you know more? Are you evolving? Are you constantly studying your specific subject matter? Con ed is invaluable because all it helps you do is teach the same things you've been teaching in a different way. Masters teach, right? They say, if you want to learn it, read it. If you want to comprehend it, write it. If you want to master it, teach it. There's nothing more true. I've been doing master classes and facilitating classes since 2015. I did an in-person class for years on end every month. Getting up every month and proclaiming that I can teach somebody something and inviting them to come watch for free has done the most in helping me to refine my craft, because the more I teach it, the more I master it. The more I study, the more I learn new ways to say it so that people get it. The more you can simplify something, the more likely somebody is to have a transformation. Having mastery and doing con ed gives you the ability to simplify complex concepts. The more you can simplify, the quicker somebody can have a transformation. When you are able to simplify somebody's challenge and teach it to them in the way that they can easily understand and comprehend, that is almost impossible to give up. People want to stay with you. People want to keep having that experience. People want to come back. People will sit for about 5 to 7 minutes and spill out everything that's going on. I'm able to summarize it in about 60 seconds. Here's what I heard and here's what's happening. Is that right? They'd be like, yeah, dang. I know. But it's not like a gift I was born with. It's just mastery. But when people don't study and when people are not learned, then it's very hard to facilitate it, because y'all both trying to figure out what they just said. You ain't mastered how to ask questions. You ain't mastered how to answer questions. Like, why are you even in the space? Why are you even in the space? And so that con ed is so important. It's so important. Thank you, Terry. Terry said, you are exceptional at simplifying. I'm telling you, it just comes with reps. And so if you want to facilitate transformations for people that are so big that they keep coming back to you, that they stay with you for years, or if you want to simplify your relationships, if you want to improve the quality of your dynamics with a team, with your staff, with your family, with your children, I'm telling you right now, use what I taught you today to create psychological safety. That is the cheat code. That is the cheat code, and that's how you make magic happen. And if you want to make magic happen with me in person, you want to see this live, you need to be clicking the link that's pinned in the comments on YouTube. I'll be live in Houston, Texas, for our event, the Radical Obedience Assembly, y'all. This will be the pre-release for the new book about radical obedience coming out this year. And so I would love to see you guys. If you want to learn more stuff like this in person, live, and direct, I'm coming with a super dynamic message for you guys in Houston, Texas, May 2nd to the 3rd. And I am looking forward to teaching you guys what it truly means to be fully surrendered, what it truly means to completely surrender to your assignment and show up with radical obedience. So if you are on Instagram, just comment the word surrender. If you are here on YouTube, you can click the link that's pinned right here in the comments. Get registered for Fully Surrendered. We just opened up registration on Saturday, and you guys have already been registering. I love y'all so much. And so make sure you click the link that's pinned right here in the comments on YouTube for Fully Surrendered, May 2nd to the 3rd, the Radical Obedience Assembly. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have an activation for our Go Handle Club, which is a morning mindfulness exercise. You're going to have keynotes from me and several people on my team. Okay. We're going to have a fireside chat for VIP in the evening. It's going to be a whole thing. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a mastermind session for all of our mastermind members. I'm going to dive deep into your business for a couple of hours on Sunday morning if you're in the mastermind. And then Sunday afternoon, we are having the pre-release party for the book plus a going away party for me. As some of y'all know, I'm headed to Princeton University. And so Ivy League, y'all gonna have to talk to me different in 2027. Your girl moving on up to Ivy League, okay? So I'm headed to Princeton. And so we're having a going away party for that. So May 2nd to the 3rd is a big, historical weekend because it is us wrapping up the final cohort of my Farm to Table plant-based coaching program that I've been facilitating for over 10 years. It is pre-release for my very first book about radical obedience. It is going away for Princeton University. Oh man, we're going to have a good time. So I would love to see you guys. So just comment the word surrender if you're on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, the link to learn more about Fully Surrendered is in the comments. Listen, give me some takeaways before we hop off here today, guys. We had kind of a mellow live this morning, but I want to hear what you heard. This was really specifically for, individuals who facilitate change for people. And so I would love to hear. Come on, Susan. Susan said, Dr. Lisa A. Smith, you better quit playing with me. Talk to me nice. Listen, I know when you graduate, you can put MD behind your name if you got that. I know if you're in law, you can put some letters behind your name. Right now I got MBA behind my name. But can you just put Ivy League behind your name? Y'all tell me, what's the rules when you moving on up to Ivy League, honey? I'm about to be in Princeton, New Jersey showing out. Me and a homie, Brandy Harvey, we've talked about it publicly. We're going to Princeton together. And so I'm super excited, but I don't know. Is it too early to just put Lisa A. Smith, MBA, Ivy League? Is that a thing people? Tell me what the flex should look like. Tell me what the flex, don't get shocked if my email signature start getting crazy. Don't get shocked if my podcast intro change. I'm changing. So what? You know what I mean? So it's given Ivy League, okay? It's given Ivy League. Okay, listen, tell me y'all takeaways from today. I taught you guys the one skill that I've mastered to increase the lifetime value of our clients here running a coaching company. What does it take to have brand loyalty if you are in our industry, the information sharing industry, the coaching industry, the community industry? How can you have brand loyalty? So I talked about that today. Susan said, make it a thing. Sharina said, congratulations on the book. Thank you. Happy for you. Okay, Sharina says, let's see. Let me pull her comment up. She says, the quicker you can simplify something, the quicker they can transform. That's it, Sharina. That was her takeaway for today, and I love it. The quicker you can simplify something, the quicker people can transform. Come on, y'all owe me some more fees now. Why my fees ain't rolling in? I done sat on here for an hour and 8 minutes giving away all the juice. Y'all can at least give me a takeaway. Y'all know the fee for free. Thank you for that, Sharina, though. Simplification. I didn't even know that it was something that was so attractive to people until I started, until they started telling me. People started telling me, Milan does this on my team. She does it a lot in our team meetings. She'll be trying to explain something and she'll just cut herself off and she'll be like, you know what I'm trying to say. I know you about to simplify. Say what I'm trying to say, coach. So Coach Milan does that so good on my team. And so I love that. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was really good at simplification until, my team and our clients started telling us. Let's see. Shout out to Terry. Terry says her takeaway is being vulnerable makes me more relatable. Yes. Telling your story, opening up, making sure that people know that you understand exactly where they're coming from. Game changer. Absolute game changer. So yeah, being more vulnerable really helps to facilitate change for people. Shout out to Lachey. What's up, lady? About to be in your backyard. Lachey says genuine vulnerability and toxic positivity and optimism. Huge eye openers. Yes. Genuine vulnerability, like genuine. Like it's we know when vulnerability is manufactured. Like we're all smart enough to kind of detect some BS, right? So if you don't really have the relatability, just like hold fast, just express empathy and just leave it there. But if you really have like, no, I see you, I know exactly what you're saying, like I feel you, like open up, share that part of you, right? It's okay. And it really helps people to feel seen and heard. So I'm glad you got that, Lachey. And then yeah, toxic positivity and toxic optimism. Like there's a time for everything will be all right. Let's just, let's pray. And it's about to work out for your good and favor is on the way. Like there's times for that. There's times for that. But if you pay me thousands of dollars to coach you, I'm going to be very particular about them times. Like now ain't the time. Here's what needs to happen if you don't want it to turn out like that. Okay. Stop eating all that mess today. Like, I ain't got time for this. Like shut it all down. Like, oh, you want an ROI? I'm gonna need you to go sell like I told you to sell. Like, and here's what's gonna need to happen. I'm getting some hints of you having healed from rejection. So here's what needs to happen. Like, I got to keep it real. I ain't got time to be messing around with y'all, right? Like, we'll be positive at the end of this coaching session. Okay, no, we're gonna hug it out at the end for sure. But in the midst of it, when we're in the valley, oh, I'm putting some fire under it, okay? I'm putting a little gasoline on the fire because I ain't got time to be playing with y'all. Let me see. Let me get some more takeaways before we get up out of here. Y'all know the fee for free. Kiavia, what's up, girl? She says, actively listening and ensure we are on the same page from the beginning of the conversation. Ooh, we call that clarity. We call that clarity. And it's also the stage for really healthy communication. So, Kiavia, I did an episode, you were probably on a couple weeks ago, where I talked about communication is not just I said it. Communication is I said it and I confirmed that it was received the way I intended. And that making sure we're on the same page so that a transformation or change can happen is so important. It's so important. So I'm so glad that that one resonated with you. Active listening is a very hard skill to develop for a lot of people because our world moves so fast that we're used to our attention being pulled away quickly. And so now I know you guys all hear like people are attention spans are short, attention spans are short, attention spans are short. But if you decide that it's not going to be, don't let it be. Like if you're in the transformation space, you can't afford for your attention span to be short. Like, as a matter of fact, how dare you? How dare you having a short attention span when you're trying to serve people? How dare you, right? And so when I'm on stage and I'm speaking, but then at the end, people want to ask questions or people want to hug and take pictures and tell me their story privately. Like, I got to be locked in. Active listening is so attractive. Let people mess around and find out you heard them. Let people mess around and find out you understood them, you remember them. Ciao. You got a client for life. You have a consumer for life because it is rare. Like people brush people off. They rush people through their stuff. Like let people find out you really be listening. Child, you a mess around. That man gonna propose to you. She listened to me. He listened to me. Child, we be all in our feels. It's the best feeling ever. Okay. To coming from somebody who listens and coming from somebody who likes to be listened to. All right. Anyway, Rhonda said every nugget shared was phenomenal. Can apply it all. So happy to hear that, Rhonda. And that feels really good because Rhonda's in our mastermind. So I love to know that I'm still teaching our business accelerator clients. Rhonda said, since we creating words and stuff, the door is wide open, right? Like Lisa A. Smith hashtag or comma Ivy League. That's all you need to know, okay? Okay, let me take two more takeaways, then we get out of here. April said her takeaway was listen and communicate with curiosity, not judgment. This will serve me well. Yes. Be very careful with judging the people that hired you to help them. Like, what? Be very careful with judging the people who decided to give you their attention for an hour on a Monday morning. Like, they trying to get help. Don't be mad. Don't be judging their issues and what they struggling with, because the only difference is that you ain't told them what you struggling with, right? And so when you show up as human and give people the space to be human and no judgment, just ask questions, just be curious, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. And it really helps people to feel like you see them and hear them. Okay. Yes, Rhonda, no toxic positivity. Be honest and get good at simplifying. Okay. My business owners and my future business owners showed up today and got what you needed. I'm satisfied. I am pleased. So I will see you guys back here next Monday, same time, for another Monday morning keynote. Listen to me very carefully. If you're struggling with being on assignment and doing what God told you to do completely and fully, if you're struggling with honoring the divine download that you've gotten, right? If you're struggling with obedience, I need you to be at fully surrendered. May 2nd and 3rd in Houston, Texas, live with me, right? We're going to do some celebration of the book and me going to Ivy League. But, honey, we also need to talk about you. And I'm going to be there with my pumps on, giving you a little piece of my mind. So if you want a little bigger piece of my mind than what I've been giving you, click the link, get tickets, Houston, Texas. See you there. Until next week, y'all have a blessed week and go create some psychological safety for somebody. Stop making them feel all rushed and judged and not seen, okay? So go be kind to somebody, create that psychological safety, and let's see how it transforms your personal and your professional relationships. Love y'all. Bye, y'all.